So calves have been said to be one of the hardest muscle groups to grow, and some people even go as far as saying that they can't possibly grow their calves no matter how hard they try. But the truth is, you can grow your calves if you approach them correctly. So today we are going to go over a few major tips that you need to understand and nail down pat if you do actually want to grow your calves. Now I've got 5 major tips for you to help you grow your calves, but before we get into that, guys, I want to let you know that there's some big news at the end of this video in regards to a Gymshark giveaway. So recently we hit 500,000 subscribers on the YouTube, so I want to send out my love to you. So we wanted to give back to you guys for being such an amazing family, but more on that at the end of this video. For right now, guys, let's hop on to these 5 major tips. So the first calf growing tip that I have for you guys is to actually train them. Huge shock, I know, but it is a very important tip to remember. I know that might come as a surprise to you who have been skimping on training your calves and using your genetics as a convenient scapegoat. But the truth is, if you don't train them, there's no hope in hell of them actually growing. So in order to grow a muscle, you have to put it through an appropriate amount of stress. That is the first thing you need to do if you're looking to grow calves. So make sure you're paying your calves the attention they so willingly deserve. And from there, we can really start focusing on the nitty-gritties that are gonna help you accelerate your gains. The second tip I have for you guys in growing your calves is to focus on rep tempos. And I cannot stress this enough, because what matters more than the actual exercises you're doing is how you're actually performing the exercise. And your rep tempos are gonna come down to how long it takes for you to go through the concentric phase, the hold at the top of that concentric phase, the negative portion, and the hold at the stretch on the bottom. Getting a good stretch and a good contraction is the pivotal cornerstone of any good muscle building ideology. Understand that time under tension is a huge component to actually growing muscle mass, and in order to get that down pat, you need to focus on how you're actually executing a certain rep. And if that means that you need to cut down the weight in half or even start down at body weight, then so be it. You need to get down your form and your actual rep tempos, making sure you can get a good contraction and a good stretch, or no gains will actually come your way. Calf tip number 3 is going to be training frequency and rep schemes. Ultimately, guys, a lot of people are under the misconception that when you train calves, you want to hit them every single day for 100 reps, 10 sets, and you want to do them maybe even 3 times a day. And that can be further from the truth, because your calves, just like any other muscle, need some sort of period of recovery in order to grow, adapt. It's very important that you have that tearing down phase in terms of applying a certain stimulus and that stress in the gym, and then you have a recovering phase where they actually repair themselves. So if you're bashing them over and over and over and over, day in, day out, then they're not going to grow, they're not going to adapt. It's very important to go in with a good understanding of how often you should be training and what kind of reps and sets you should be shooting for. I will train my calves 2 times per week. That is really all you need. If you're hitting them with enough volume, that's it. That's all you'll actually need. Now within those sessions, I'm going to be hitting a certain amount of sets with a good amount of rep schemes. So for the first exercise of each session, I'm going to do a heavier kind of load. So I might do seated calf raise, and I might do, quite heavy weight with 6 to 8 reps, slow as all can be. And then for the next exercise, I'm gonna do something a little bit on the higher end of reps. So 15 to 20. And that's what I've noticed works best for me, is doing a combination of both low reps, high weight, and then high reps and low weight. It's very important to hit both ends of the spectrum, because then you're ticking off the fast twitch muscle fibers as well as the slow twitch muscle fibers, which are going to accrue a lot of muscle gain. Calf tip number 4 is to start a new life and beg God for some better pair of genetics. Now I'm absolutely joking, but my actual 4th tip for growing your calves is going to be to make sure you're choosing proper exercises in order to grow the calves in its entirety. So as mentioned, there's 3 main muscles that you need to tick off. The first is going to be the gastrocnemius, the second is going to be the soleus, and the third is going to be the tibialis anterior. So I'm going to walk you through a few exercises for each of these to make sure you can grow your calf in its entirety. So the first and most important is the gastrocnemius, which is what most people refer to as the calf muscle. And ultimately, it's going to be the meaty portion of the calf that a lot of the time is going to contribute to the most growth. This acts to flex the ankle joint, which is why, standing calf raises and things of like are going to be very, very important for actually targeting this muscle. Now, what I would recommend for this is just a typical standing calf raise. You can do this on a Smith machine, you can do this body weight, you can do this with an actual dedicated standing calf raise machine, but for the most part, you need to be hitting that exercise to tackle the gastrocnemius. The second most important muscle is going to be the soleus, and this is responsible for helping yourself stand up from a seated position. And as such, to target this, what you want to be doing is the seated calf raise, and that's going to contribute to a lot of width, which is why seated calf raise, honestly, loading the weight up on that couldn't couldn't recommend it more for actually growing nice, thick calves. And the third muscle group that not a lot of people talk about is gonna be the tibialis anterior. And this is gonna be the front portion of your lower leg. So this muscle is responsible for flexing the ankle joint, and it is very, very important in stabilizing the foot for things like the squat. Basically, it will activate when your toes are higher than your foot. So for this, you kind of want to be doing a reverse calf raise. There's really not too much you can do for this muscle group besides just squatting a lot and actually doing that reverse calf raise. But every now and then a gym will have an exercise machine to actually target this specifically. And if you do, you're a lucky bugger. Number 5 is going to be your feet position, which is something I get questioned about all the freaking time, is how should you actually position your foot when you're doing certain calf exercises. And for the most part, if you're a beginner and you're just trying to grow your calf straight off the bat, what I would recommend is just keeping it straightforward. You want to go straight foot how you would normally stand and do it that way. That way you're going to build the calf in entirety instead of focusing on individual spots. Now for a quick breakdown, if you point your toes inwards and have your heels pointing out, then you will target more of the outer portion of the calf. Vice versa, if you have your feet pointed outwards, so your toes are pointed out and your heels are coming in towards the body, then you're going to be focusing more so on the inside of the calf. So the first thing you want to do is actually grow your calves to a point where you can kind of notice whether or not you have imbalances. So for that, you just want to keep it straight. And then once you get to the point where you be like, all right, I guess my inside has a little less meat in it than the outside, then you want to kind of mix up the feet position. And one closing note is to do with your actual foot. Now, if you are training calves in big, bulky shoes that don't have a good amount of flexion, you might want to go so far as taking your shoes off. Now, this is something that I definitely do and advise you to do if you don't actually have flat shoes on, like Vans or All-Stars, because it just allows yourself to get a better feel for the movement, get a better stretch, and really come all the way up onto the balls of your feet and get that solid peak contraction. And one final thing, because I get questioned about this a lot, and I'm sure I'm gonna get questions about this in the comments, and that is how to hit the like button. If you don't know how, you go down and you hit that like button because it's gonna help out the YouTube algorithm. No, I'm kidding, but do like the video. And one thing I do get questioned about a lot for calves is what to do if you don't actually have machines to hit it, like the seated calf raiser, standing calf raiser, Smith machine, or whatever else. And here's what you wanna do. So if you do have a dumbbell, you want to grab it and emulate the seated calf raise. So get some sort of platform, put your feet on it, and put your dumbbell on the thighs, and that is gonna put that added resistance onto the calf. Alongside that, you could just stick with bodyweight calf raises. If you do it at a slow enough tempo, getting that peak contraction, then you're gonna definitely incur some growth. Just make sure you're getting your form down pat and go single leg, because that way it's gonna be a little bit more added resistance on each individual calf. Also, you can do things like box jumps, you can do things like jump squats, you can do things that hit the calf vicariously. So that could be, playing basketball, it could be sprinting, it could be absolutely anything, and your calves will definitely respond. All right, guys, so that is exactly how to grow your calf. So I hope you can head out there and really add some inches onto those baby calves that you might have right now, and I'm excited to see your gains in the future. Now for this giveaway, the Gymshark giveaway, there's gonna be 3 total gift cards of $150. And all you gotta do to enter, guys, is drop a comment down below and let me know 2 things. First, why you wanna win the clothes, and secondly, why you actually work out in the first place. I'm very interested to hear exactly why you work out, what motivates you to make progress. Is it fat loss? Is it muscle gain? Is it to impress girls? I'm not fussed. All I wanna know is why you work out. So every bit of detail for the giveaway is gonna be in the description as well. So check there for reference, and I'm excited to send you guys some stuff. So comment down below anything you want as well. And I hope you did enjoy this video. Drop a like if you're new here, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Arigato, Mr. Robato.